Andrew, I was wondering what you knew about Christian Yelich before you came here and what you've experienced in terms of what he's done for this team on the field and then what he means to it off.
Yeah, I think, being from the outside, I was with the White Sox for several years. Playing against him, I mean, he's a tough out. He's just a ball player. All around, just look at the years he's had here, even before in Miami, just special.
You didn't have to lie to him, man.
Go to Kurt, third row in the middle.
For you, Yelly, a lot has been made, probably will continue to be made about the last few years in the playoffs for you guys. And the question is, do you feel like there's anything different about this team, or does there have to be anything different about this team to have a different fate?
There's a lot of different players. There's a lot of different players over the years, so they're all different teams, right? So I don't really think any past outcome has any indication of how this year can go. It's the postseason, and anything can happen in those short series and those kind of games, and we've definitely had our opportunities. We haven't always capitalized on them, and we did one year when we were able to kind of make a little bit of a deeper run. And postseason games are often decided by a couple plays here and there, and they're all going to be competitive games, tight knit, and hopefully we can do what we need to do to come out on top.
Up to the top row on the left.
Christian, Andrew, the players were talking about, your teammates were talking about an intense week of practicing with the tent. How did you guys do that?
Yeah, I think we just did baseball stuff and understand that being able to execute the game and the fundamentals of the game and just doing what we need to do to make sure that we play as clean as possible. And that's really what it was, and it wasn't anything crazy. It was just refresher and making sure that we knew what we needed to do, clean some stuff up. It was nice to have a few days to kind of get everybody's bodies rested up a little bit and, just kind of hang out and do some baseball activity.
Go to Jesse, 4 rows up on the aisle.
For both of you, and obviously, Andrew, you've been now a rival of the Cubs for two different teams. What is it any more exciting to play this series against your arch rivals, or is it just another series, for you, Christian, starting with you?
Yeah, I think, it's the postseason, so it's not like anybody's going to want to win any more or, less because we're playing a division opponent. I think obviously the familiarity is there, but the stakes are the same, right? It didn't matter if we were playing the Cubs or the Padres, you still want to win to advance to the next round. It's two passionate fan bases that are pretty familiar with each other over the years, and we've had some big games against each other, and, surprising that we haven't really met in the postseason before. But, I kind of had a feeling this would shape up this way at some point this season. And look, they're a great team. We're a good team. We play each other really close throughout the season, and I'd anticipate a lot of the same here in the postseason. And it'll be a fun week for sure. It'll be a great atmosphere and two fun environments when we're here and when we're at Wrigley.
And Andrew, what about face?
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much the same thing. The atmosphere is going to be crazy. Think about it, it's only an hour difference of a drive for both fan bases. So, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be really good baseball.
The second row.
For Christian, you mentioned all the aspects of the rivalry. The one difference the last couple of years has been Craig managing the Cubs after having managed the Brewers. What's it been like facing him in the past, and how different will it be now with the postseason aspect of it?
It'll be fine. A lot of our team, probably half of our guys, maybe more than half, didn't play for counts. There's only a few guys left, and it's still baseball. Managers put players in positions that they think they're going to be successful in, and that's it. It's not like it's different than other sports. It's not like Counts has exotic blitz packages or, has a good play action pass game or anything like that that's going to, make it difficult on us. I have a lot of respect for him. I think, he's great at what he does. But, we're not going to have to to worry about the too high safety look from Counts. So.
Up to Andy on the left side.
Christian, at what point in your time here did you recognize that young players looked up to you and there was a responsibility that came with that?
I don't know. Just we have a lot of young players. We have a lot of young guys on our team, and if you want to be successful, you're going to need to count on them and make sure that they're successful as well. I don't think it was any conscious decision to do that. It was just trying to be a good teammate and wanting our team to be successful and them to be successful in their careers. And it's a byproduct of playing here in Milwaukee that you're going to have to rely on a lot of young players, and they're a huge reason why we're in the position we're in because of their contributions this year and seeing them all, grow a lot throughout the season and the last couple of years.
Go to Bruce standing up in the front.
Mike says to make it a good question, so I don't have, maybe I should just pass the mic now. This mic. This is for Yelich. How annoying and how impactful is it to have so many Cub fans up here during the season and now potentially during the playoffs? Does that have an impact or not?
I don't think so. I think we're focused on the game. Who the people are rooting for in the stands is not really our concern. We're kind of worried about what's going on the field and making sure that we're doing what we need to do that our team's successful. Obviously, the proximity of the two fan bases, there will be mixed crowds, I'm sure, and in my opinion, it's just going to add to the atmosphere. But I don't think it's annoying at all, or it doesn't really affect our team. We're worried about performing well on the field and making sure that we're doing our jobs.
Go up to Todd in the fourth row.
Christian, any major differences in Murph year one to year two managing the team that you can notice or that you've noticed?
Not really. He's been the same guy since he was the bench coach. So he's, he's Murph. And people that are around him all the time know what that means. He has his way of going about things and doing things and managing the game and players. And, I think the last 2 years he's done a great job. And, he's been the same. And as a player, you know what you're going to get from him and what he expects and how it's going to be. You're never really left wondering what he's thinking because he's going to tell you whether you like it or not.
Go to Kurt in the third row.
Along those lines, Christian, the difference between Murph and Craig, what was there an adjustment period? Obviously, you knew both of them, you knew Murph going into it, but were there noticeable differences? Are there noticeable differences in just their day-to-day style?
They're different personalities, I think. I think when Counts was here, they were a good complement of each other. Counts is pretty cerebral about the game and more reserved, calm demeanor. And Murph's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking and feeling at the time. And he's not always going to say the thing that's politically correct or that's overly concerned about how people feel about it. And that's just who they are, right? They're both successful in their own ways. And, people are different, managers are different. And, obviously, we're both playing each other, so they both do a great job at, what they do. And, yeah.
Back up to the top left.
Andrew, what are some of the advantages and possible disadvantages to having a bye week?
I guess you could say, people think, oh, you're not playing for, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it might be. Like we talked about earlier, we had some, pretty intense practices, live scrimmages, facing live arms, just to stay ready. You got to take advantage of the opportunity you're given. Getting the bye is really special, but, those 3, 4 days are really critical, button up some plays, tighten up the defense, just work on those things, and, I think we took advantage of that.
Go to Doug in the front.
Oh, Andrew, I think I asked you this before when I saw you last game. You were a Clemente Award nominee with the White Sox, and I'm curious how you've translated that over to Milwaukee, how you found the community to look for causes that are close to you.
We haven't really dove in yet. Just the trade was crazy. Me and my wife definitely look forward to doing stuff. Within the city, it's a great city. It's been awesome to us. But definitely looking forward to it.
I'll take one last one all the way up top on the right.
Christian, over the years, how have you kept your emotions in check but not become too emotional in bigger moments and just become the leader that you are?
I just think that's the game of baseball. You gotta be steady, especially in the postseason, because there's a lot of different swings of emotion and momentum, and you don't want to ride the highs too high during the game, and if you get behind early in these games, you don't want to get too low either. It's just you got to just keep playing the game, and that's true over the course of the season, but especially in the postseason, there's just big momentum swings, and the game changes quick, and you could be 0 for the entire series in October, but if you get the one big hit at the end, then that's all people remember and all people care about, and that's why as players you have to just keep going. You got to keep going in October and play to the bell, and like I said, you can be the guy that's punched out every at bat for the entire series, but if you come up in that one big spot and deliver, then you can kind of change everything. So you got to keep that in mind during these series, and look, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great week, and this is what you play for, these exciting games, and really looking forward to it.
Freddy, you faced these guys more than any other team this year when you pitched, and we've kind of seen in the past when you face guys a couple times, you might change things up. Just how does the familiarity that they might have with you impact the way that you're going into a start like this?
I think that, they know me really well, and I know them too, and I know how special they are, and I know my answer for your question, I think, is simple. I think that I just got to go out there and compete, because I know who we're facing, and they know who I am on the mound too as well. So it's going to be competition for both sides.
We'll switch out. We'll let Sophia go back.
That was great.
We'll stay in the second row, second seat in.
For Jackson, obviously you had a really successful playoff run last year. What did you kind of learn from that taste of the postseason last year that you can carry into this one? Just how different is it playing now versus the regular season?
Obviamente tenía mucho éxito en la postemporada del año pasado. ¿Qué tú llevas de eso a este año y qué tan diferente esta vez jugando en este postemporada?
No, la verdad que yo creo que el tema de la postemporada, lo único que siento que hay mucha más adrenalina y hay que saber cómo controlarla, ¿sabes? Pero igual yo siento que es el mismo juego, siempre voy a tratar de dar lo mejor y esperemos que el resultado siempre sea positivo.
Yeah, I think the difference in the postseason is that you definitely have more adrenaline in the games. So, you feel that for sure, but at the end of the day, it's the same game. So, I'm going to go out there and try to do what I always say and give the best version of myself possible and do what I can to help the team win.
Go to Adam, second row in the middle.
Freddie, I'm just wondering, watching yesterday, if you did watch, and what you thought when it was the Cubs and all that goes with a Cubs-Brewers series.
I think it was great. Great game, and awesome, like from the beginning to the end. And what I saw is just what they do always, like compete outside. They try their best, and I think that's what makes everything better for our series all the time that we face each other, because they are a really good team and they compete all the time, and we do the same thing. It don't matter if we're in Milwaukee or in Chicago, you're gonna always see that competition between us. So and I saw that they were very good yesterday.
Go to Kurt in the middle, third row.
For Freddy, in these last few playoff starts, what have you learned about managing your emotions on the mound and controlling the moment, and how do you feel like you've done in that area in the last few playoff starts?
Yeah, I think that I've been learning from the past, and I remember back in 2018, it was the first time, and I was nervous, I can't lie. But then when I get to that point again, when I have the opportunity to be in postseason games, I was just trying to control myself and be myself without thinking too much. Just do what I need to do my work outside, and that's what I've been doing. And I learned too that even if you are in a tough situation, you have to control yourself and breathe around, think about how special is the game, and compete outside. Because even if you are doing great, everything can change and that quick. And you just control your emotion and stay focused all the time until your job is done.
Go up to Jesse, fourth row on the aisle.
Freddy, what do you think of it when Craig Counsell gets booed by the Milwaukee fans here? What, are you entertained by it? What goes through your mind?
I don't know. You mean like how it's gonna be or how it was when how it was? I took it, you know. I don't even know how to say it because I was laughing in the moment and all that. But I kind of know him, how special he is. He's a great man, a great manager, and he knows that I love him. But at the same time, you know, like after all those years, like here, and when you come back, that's what you get. But it is what it is. It's part of the game. You know, it's the feeling that the fans are having, or I don't know if probably tomorrow is gonna happen again. Probably louder than normal, but it's part of the game. It is what it is. At the end of the day, you know, this is the game that we love, and everything can happen in this game.
Bruce sitting down in the front.
Freddie, is there any Cubs in that lineup that you would pitch around if the circumstance was game on the line, inning on the line? You know, I guess any inning can be the game on the line during the playoffs. Is there somebody like Tucker that you would be more careful with in those situations?
No, I mean, I think that we are all big leaguers here, and they have the talent to do anything in any moment. It don't matter if you hit it in the whole 9 or 8 spot. It don't matter for me. I think that I have to compete and treat everybody the same because they are all professionals and they all can do damage in any moment.
Go back to Adam in the second row.
Freddy, I'm wondering what you remember about game 163, your rookie season. Were you in the bullpen for that game? And what do you remember about the atmosphere, the energy, the stakes of that day?
And the energy of the day it was crazy, and we knew that we were going to to have a big fight, and I remember Quintana pitching the game, and for us it was Chacin, right? Yeah, and it was a great game from the beginning, from the first pitch, and we took advantage. I can't remember the inning, but it was a homer, I think, and then we were ahead until the last out. But even the last out, it was Rizzo, and we get a little bit, scared because he hit the ball. I don't know, for some reason, it looks like it was going to be home run. But we got the out, and we won the game. And it was difficult to us to get out from Chicago that day because all the fans, they were waiting for us outside. But it was fun, and at the same time. But that's what I remember because it was like 8 years ago. Yeah, but it was fun. Like I said earlier, that's what you're gonna get when we face each other. Chicago and us is always gonna be fun.
From the far left, second row.
Jackson, how do you feel today after a few days off? You've had workouts, you probably had some treatments, but how do you and your teammates feel physically going into tomorrow's game?
¿Cómo te sientes hoy? Tú sabes, después de esta semana de práctica, no tener juego, me imagino que tratamiento también. ¿Cómo tú y tu compañero se sienten físicamente antes del juego mañana?
No, nos sentimos preparados, ¿sabes? Sentimos que estamos listos ya para esperar ese momento de mañana y nada, yo creo que cada uno ha hecho lo que tiene que hacer como para estar físicamente lo más preparado posible y mentalmente también.
We feel prepared and ready, so I think each of my teammates have, done what each person needs to do themselves to physically prepare their bodies and I think mentally as well to get ready for what tomorrow brings. So I think we're ready for it.
Any last ones for Jackson or Freddy? Doug, first row.
For Jackson.
You got the mic.
Oh, sorry. For Jackson, what have you learned from Freddy?
¿Qué tú has aprendido de Freddy?
No, que alguien que le echa ganas al juego, ¿sabes? Alguien que no se rinde fácilmente, alguien que compite, alguien que en verdad es una tremenda persona, un gran líder y la verdad que tiene muchas cosas por las cuales yo quisiera aprender, claro.
Freddy, Freddy's a great person and just a great person to learn from. He's an incredible competitor. He's someone that doesn't back down from competition, and he's someone that is ready for the moment. So just as a person himself, he's an incredible leader, an incredible friend, and just someone that in the game and outside of the game, someone that I can learn a lot of things from, and someone that I have learned a lot from.
Take one more with Adam, second row.
Vice versa. Just what about the other way? What have you learned from Jackson?
I think that I told him that before. That the way that he loses in the game, especially being only for 2 seasons, and what he does, is impressive. Like how he's able to get speeches in the game, to make adjustments, and to learn from mistakes that quick too. Like it's awesome, and I'm very proud of him. But the difference is that I let him know all that. And whatever he say about me, he never told me that before. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm proud of him. And he become like a very good player, and I know that he has way more to give to the game.
Stern, go ahead, Stern. You're so shy.
Murph, what type of energy might be different between you and Counts going into this? We know it's all professional. It's about your team winning. But what will you emotionally, what do you have to protect against knowing how close you guys are from getting caught up in his game versus yours?
Yeah, I don't really think it's about us at all. I mean, I've got a huge staff around me and a great bunch of ball players that I've been through 6 months with, or 8 months with, if you count spring. And I think he probably feels the same way, that it isn't about us, We'll compete, and hopefully our teams will compete. I don't think it'll change, us. It's nothing about what he's doing or whatever. I mean, we've kind of revealed ourselves over the years, what we're capable of. I don't think it's about us at all.
But as great competitors, you're both enormous competitors. Don't you really want to beat his butt?
I understand what you mean. It wouldn't matter who was over there. That kind of goes without saying, right? This happens all the time in sports, right? But player to player is different than manager to manager. But yeah, I mean, if they want to make it a Holyfield Tyson thing, I'd probably have a better shot, But
Don't fight as you.
Oh, you assumed I was Tyson. Is that what you're saying?
Go to the second row.
Just checking on if there's any update on the Brandon Woodruff front at this point.
Yeah, there is. Woodruff will not. Well, here's the thing. Brandon Woodruff, the good news is this. It has nothing to do with his shoulder. And that's the greatest part of it. It has nothing to do with his shoulder health. His shoulder's 100% healthy. It's on its way. He's proven that when he's pitched. Now he has an injury, he has a lat injury, and that lat injury, much like a hamstring, has to be treated as such. So he's not going to pitch in this series, but we're hopeful that somewhere, like a hamstring, you just never know. Like a hamstring, you're hoping that who knows what might be down the road. We're very disappointed to announce that. I think everyone anticipated that, but we wanted to be sure. We wanted to get all the opinions, so we're going to move forward from there. But we're just super happy that he's looking into everything he possibly can to try to get healthy as soon as he can. But he has a long career ahead of him. But just the news that the shoulder is 100% intact is the most important part.
Stay in the second row, here in the middle.
Murph, you had talked going into this week about finding that competitiveness, keeping that competitiveness. Are you happy with the balance between rest and intensity over the last couple of days, and how did you get that?
I don't think it's a matter of being happy or not happy with it. I think we made it uncomfortable, and we made it competitive, but you can't replicate what's going to happen there tomorrow. So, and then now it's water under the bridge. It doesn't matter now, it's done. So hopefully we did that, and hopefully the players will be as ready as you can be after a 5-day layoff in baseball. We do this at the All-Star break, not as long, but we do, and, we just don't make excuses. Who's the new guy? Just came in. What do we got?
My name is Kyle Williams.
Hi, Kyle. I knew a Kyle Williams in my life.
Go to Adam in the second row.
Good to have you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Murph, how does familiarity play a role in a postseason series with how well these two clubs know each other?
Yeah, I think it's across the league right now, right? I mean, Detroit and Cleveland, Boston, New York, and now we've got New York and Toronto, right? So, I mean, it's there, you know what I mean? And you're going to have to play the best teams to get to where you want to go. And being familiar with the other team, be careful. Be careful what you think you know. It's who's playing well and who's on it, who's adjusting to what they think they're going to do. You can get yourself down a rabbit hole. It's about going out and executing, making pitches, being ready for every pitch. Yeah. I think it'll, play a role. Of course.
Stay in the second row on the end.
Stern. He likes to go by Stern. Yeah.
That's what you like to call me because that's my name, but
Stern's got a sense of humor. First time, what's that, 2 years? First time.
Murph, a big part of your offensive approach and your success this year has been grinding out at bats, battling pitches, putting pressure on defenses, forcing teams to make tough plays. This is a Cubs team that has been arguably the best defensive team in the NL. That's how they've graded out. Kind of curious, do you think that raises an extra challenge specifically with this team, maybe compared to some other teams you might play? And then how do you approach this series knowing that this is a group of guys on the other side that can make plays?
Yeah, the familiarity comes into play, right? They know how we try to do it, and they're going to try to combat that. And we know how they try to do it, and we're going to try to combat that. I'd rather play a team that wasn't as familiar with us, but really, all the teams we're talking about playing have some idea, that we do that. So, and I think everybody's going to play hard, and everybody's going to try to grind out at bats. Everybody's going to point to, well, you don't have as much slug. The Cubs have 3 guys over 30 homers and this, that, and the other thing. But it comes down to the game being played tomorrow, We play good defense, too. They play really good defense. And, it comes down to playing those pitches, being in the moment. It's like a heavyweight matchup. You know what I mean? Everybody has styles, and you combat that style the way you do, but you got to figure out a way to win the game, and you do it minute by minute, second by second in the ring. And I think that's what it'll come down to.
Let's go to Kurt in the third row.
Murph, back to Woodruff. What is the level of optimism that he could actually be able to come back down the road? And would it be as soon as the NLCS, or would it have to be later than that?
Yeah. I think the goal would be, I think that would be a little bit early because he's not throwing, you know what I mean? But the fact that he's got his eyes on it and we're researching what can be done might be a possibility after that. I think that's the best way I can answer it.
Todd.
Murph, you guys played the Cubs last in August. Since then, how often have you talked to Counts? Can you share the frequency of the conversations, and is it different in season versus out of season with you guys? How often you talk?
I talked to Michelle, his wife. Don't misinterpret that, please, guys. But I talk to his wife, probably as much as I talk to him, but we'll chat here and there. I don't know the frequency, once a month, maybe, something like that, I don't know. Yeah, we don't usually talk about our clubs very much, like, hey, I see that Shaw's really hitting for some power. How'd you unlock that? No, we don't do that, but you can't take away the relationship, guys. You can do whatever you want. We could even fight out there. It doesn't matter. We're gonna still be friends. We've been through too much together. And I love his family, and he's great to my kids, and it's like it's what it is.
Go up to Kyle on the far right.
Murph, I just kind of, since you've taken over, the Brewers, have continued at the pace they were under Council. I just was curious on how you imparted your own personality and style on the group.
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to not do that. I think we've had 2 years where nobody expected us to be over 500, both years. And I don't think anybody came out of that. My first year, what year was that? 2024. Being the manager, nobody expected us to win the division, and nobody for sure this year expected us to win the division. So, I think we've made a statement of how we play, and I think we've done a pretty good job of establishing that we're going to overachieve. And again, we didn't get an increase in budget, or we didn't pick up players at the deadline. We didn't do a lot of those things because we trust in the way we do things, and I think it should be, noted that these teams have overachieved.
Let's go all the way up top.
Skip, a couple questions.
From yourself, or do you got them on?
No, these are not from viewers. These are straight from me. I actually thought of these myself. Players this week have talked about how much they...
I really enjoyed that, by the way.
We enjoyed it too. Thank you for your time on that. Players have talked about how much playing at home means. What do you want from the fans tomorrow who are coming here? What do you ask of them? What do you want from them? And the second part, should you do a third inning interview with Japanese television, what fare would you take out of your pocket to appease the Japanese audience? Could you do sushi? Could you do some ramen? What do you got in mind should you do a third inning interview?
Wow, that was a lot of questions you just asked me. 2. What was the first one? Because that sidetracked me a little bit.
Playing at home.
They don't know what you're talking about.
What do you want of the fans?
What do I want of the fans?
Yeah.
Stay engaged. Enjoy it. Love your team the way you should this year. These guys have stepped up in a huge way. Like I said, nobody expected it. You didn't know the players' names, and for them to emerge. Some of the guys that the front office picked out of AAA that had unbelievable seasons, frontline seasons for us. You're thinking admire this team the way I do, love this team the way I do, show up to see them to thrive and keep going. Yeah, the fans have been great for us. We've had 25 sellouts. I don't know if that's normal or not. I don't really keep track, but somebody told me that. And it's pretty cool. So I say come out and encourage the guys, And the second one, third inning, Japanese media, let's do, I don't know what they would want mid-game. Maybe why they're used, you can't cook spaghetti and meatballs for an Italian family, you know what I'm saying? I can't pull out something Japanese cuisine for them. Maybe we just go peanut butter and jelly or something for these guys, you know what I mean? Just a thought.
Come back down to Adam in the second row.
Jesse, were you doing in-game?
Yeah.
Do you always do that?
Just in the first round of the playoffs.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
It was fun.
Is he in a suit?
Suit, no tie, though. Makes my head look like a bowling ball. So.
I didn't even notice. I didn't notice it.
Murph, is Quinn
Could have had a
Priester,
Randy Moss 84 jersey on. I would have known.
True.
is Quinn Priester starting game 2, or is there the possibility of some creativity there? And is Quintana lined up and ready based on this past week for game 3?
Both of them will be ready for game 2. but we haven't decided what we're doing game 2.
Can I just follow up?
Yes, you certainly
Can
can.
you share what Quintana did this week? How much he was able to throw?
He's 100%. He had 3 ups day before yesterday.
We'll finish up with Todd, 4th row.
Or if I had
Finish
a-
up? We're done?
I had a source indicate that you had a little ink added recently. Would you be in a position to share and show?
Really? I don't know, that's kind of personal, isn't it? Isn't it personal? Well, here's what I can show you. So I'm going to do this. See, you think you're smart. I know who you got it from, okay? So you think you're smart. No, you think you're smart. You think you got me on the spot right now, but you don't. I got 3:19:10. It's my daughter's time in the Boston, her best time in Boston Marathon. She's run it 4 or 5 times. This is her best time. Did you get that? Did I send that to you? You saw it?
No, I didn't know.
I sent it to you. I got your wrong number then. You're under Pacquiao. 3:19:10, that's her best time. So I just got that day before yesterday.
Any others?
Huh?
Any others? Any other new?
Any other tattoos on my body?
Yeah. New tattoos, like recent?
Yeah.
Could you share? Like, you don't have to show us, but could you?
Yeah, I got a tattoo on my sleeve like the players wear on their uniform. The Bob Uecker,
All the same, like the patch.
the patch.
Very cool.
Yeah. I told you guys in spring training I was getting a Uecker tattoo. You remember that? You guys don't remember that?
A long time ago.
What happens if she beats that time?
Huh? Glad you asked that. Because Pedro, her husband, said, your dad's just doing that so you'll run another one and beat the time. He's motivating you. So you just cross it out and you put 3:16:14, you know what I mean? And I got a lot of room to do that, so if she wants to keep rolling, she's 39 years old, so I don't know how many more times she's gonna do it, but I think it'll motivate her, but that's a pretty good time right there, 3:19:10. If you do the math, 26.2. It's a pretty good mile. Really proud of her. And she's done it 4 or 5 times. And you know, Boston has that, what do they call that? Heartbreak Hill. That's no fun. So I'm so proud of her. I wanted to do that. And then everybody's going to ask, what does that mean? You know?
For Matt, I was just wondering, what did y'all see in Quinn Priester early in the season that made y'all think he'd be a fit in this rotation? How have y'all been able to kind of unlock that in him?
Yeah, he's certainly a talented player. Had identified him years ago, frankly through the draft process. I mean, he was a high pedigree draft pick. I'd followed him for years. Obviously, when guys come up to the big leagues, especially as pitchers, they don't always have success immediately. But we thought there were some really good ingredients there, and so. Again, teaming up with our guys, we felt like, especially in the moment at that time, we were obviously very thin with pitching. Felt like he was somebody that was in AAA for the Red Sox, and we thought could help us. So, again, huge credit to Quinn for what he's been able to become, and a credit to our staff for tapping into him. He's done a great job.
Go to Adam in the 2nd row in the middle.
Mark, I'm wondering if you could tell us your thoughts when the Cubs got the final out yesterday and this matchup materialized. Interesting on many different levels. And also I'm wondering...
I should have anticipated that question.
I'm wondering if you have anything to say to Brewers fans who may have some offers on their tickets that are pretty lucrative. Do you want to put out, is the club going to put out any message to try to keep this a home field advantage?
So if we'll just take the questions in order. I actually was watching the game with Bud Selig yesterday, last several innings, and you have a mixed emotion, right? Because we're so used to hoping that the Cubs don't win, obviously, and likewise, I'm sure they feel that way about us. Yet, this is a great matchup for our fans, and for all the fans of baseball. These playoffs in the National League, you have the 4 teams with the most wins in it. That's special. And here you have 2 teams who know each other really well. And so it should be great baseball. And, we look forward to the challenge and the opportunity, and I'm sure they do too. Look, you have an expectancy, and you also have anxiety because, and on both sides. That should make a very good series. Our fans have been terrific supporters for the second question of the team all season. I think we were 11th or 12th in attendance. By the way, on viewership, I think we were second. We had one more win than the Phillies, and they had a slightly higher media point than we did. We had the second most watched team in baseball this year behind the Phillies. And so we expect our fans will bring the energy they always do, and be very supportive. And Cubs fans want to come see their team. I'm sure they'll figure out how to do that, and I'm sure our fans will figure out how to go to Wrigley Field.
Stay here in the second row.
Mark, I was actually going to ask you about attendance and TV ratings. I had talked to Rick yesterday. Just, again, we hear all about the market size in Milwaukee. You guys finished 12th in total, 12th in average attendance with this market, and ratings are up. Just from a business standpoint, the consistent success on the field and off the field, just how proud are you of both of those things?
Oh, extremely proud of, it's a total team and community effort, organization effort and team to get that type of attendance. When I was looking at, it's hard to believe 21 seasons ago, purchasing the team, I looked at the tradition of baseball in Milwaukee, actually even predating the Braves to the American Association team. And so this community has always loved baseball. So it doesn't surprise me that when you have a good product on the field that they'll support to a very high level. And, we've had a three-peat here. I think Pat Riley, who I've now had a pleasure of getting to know a little bit, has the trademark on that. So, and more important, I think we've had 5 division titles since 2018, and that, model of consistency, I think Matt and his whole baseball ops staff and Murph and the coaching staff, and of course the players, they all get the credit for that.
Go all the way up to the top row on the right.
Matt, when did you have an indication with this team that it had a special quality to it and just was able to win a division and get in the playoffs and maybe make something special happen?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if there was like a specific date. I think back to where we were in New York and where we weren't at the moment. And we were going through a lot of things with injuries and obviously the torpedo bats that week. And we came home and we weren't great there either. Pretty dark spot at the moment. But I'll tell you what, I didn't feel doubt from the group. I think that was the thing that got us through that. And that, again, that's a credit to the people in that room that compete every single day. And I really felt like we had a really special group early on when we were able to weather that early part of the season and for us to come out the other side of that and then start really clicking kind of in the second half, along the way. There are certainly some special moments along the way that were great, but it really has been a strong group really since we left Arizona. And so, again, credit to that group and to Murph and all the coaches as well.
There was William Contreras wrote a piece in I think they call it the Players Tribune, and he credited, I've got my Spanish right, Unidad. That clubhouse is as unified as any clubhouse we've had. 2008 was similar. Very unified clubhouse, and I think that has a lot to do with the results you see.
Stay up top.
At the trade deadline, fans were clamoring for a blockbuster deal. There wasn't one. You went and did your best Gene Hackman and said, my team is on the floor. You got Danny Jansen, but you pretty much stood pat, and now you come into the playoffs with the best record in baseball. Do you feel personally vindicated that you had a sense that this was the team that could play in October and you weren't going to make any major moves?
Yeah, look, I think every move is sort of in isolation to some degree, but it's about the whole unit, honestly. And I think certainly we were tapped into all the different opportunities that were out there. And we felt like we had the right people in the mix, and I think sometimes when you want to subtract a piece or add a piece, that can change the dynamic in the clubhouse, certainly. And that was a big factor for us. And so a lot of it had to do with who we had at the moment. And the other part is kind of what you're giving up for the future. And I think that's been a big part of this is continue to support the pipeline that we have. currently, which we are very excited about, but that's not why we're here today. We're here today because of the group in that room, and really that was just a vote of confidence for the guys in that room, because again, they've done just an incredible job to get us to this point.
Stay up top on the left side.
Matt, you mentioned special moments throughout the year. What are some of those special moments that you're going to look back on?
Man, I mean, there's some huge comebacks. I mean, Mark, we could spend a long time talking about them, honestly, and not all of them are on the field, honestly. I think about, you know, the day we celebrated Bob Uecker, to be honest, was a special day for all of us. I want to continue celebrating his life as long as I'm here. He meant a lot to a lot of people, and so I feel like that was certainly a highlight for me to see Judy and obviously all the history of the team and the Brewers and what Mark has been able to build here. And that family type of culture, I mean, that's what I think makes this place really special, you know, and days like that certainly resonate for me.
You know, one of the things I think is interesting, and who knows, right, when things flip, but Jackson Chourio made a great catch in center field, and we started winning. I think it was against the Twins. We started winning after that, and it's interesting, if that was, you know, the inflection point, that it was a defensive play. You know, Matt and his group have really focused on run prevention and defense, and I think that's, well, one of the many reasons we're here is defense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to Kurt, third row in the middle.
For Mark, the fans have made their opinions on Craig pretty clear the last couple of years. I'm sure we'll hear it this weekend. And I'm sure you knew this question was coming for you as well at some point. But when he first announced that he was going to the Cubs, you had some pretty clear statements on how you felt at the time. I'm just curious, I don't think we've asked since, if you still feel burned a little bit by Craig going to the Rivals.
You know, I don't think I said I felt burned. I think I said that, you know, look, we lost the manager that still has the most wins in our history and may forever. You know, he did an unbelievable job here for 9 seasons. You know, I talked about losing the community, and I think this community is really special in so many ways. And, you know, so I think that was more the comment than, you know, everybody has to do what they have to do for themselves and their family.
Mark, left side. Second.
Mark, anybody that watched the Brewers this year, watch you keep Matt bringing up new players each week and perform, and they're saying, where do they get these guys? I mean, did you make a focused effort over the years in terms of building your scouting department, either the size or the scope or those kinds of things?
I think Matt should answer what you know, from an ownership level, we just try to find really gifted, talented executives, and of course, talent, you know, they then find talented players and talented field staff. So I think Matt should really answer that, because he built an incredible baseball ops organization here.
We could talk about scouting for a long time if you want, because I love it. Yeah, we've been fortunate to have incredible support from Mark to build that group, and scouting comes in a lot of different forms these days. There's video, and there's analytics, and there's the human element and getting to know all the kids. And like I said, we could spend a lot of time talking about it, but it really does take a big group of people coming together on those evaluations. And then once you get those players, you have to have the right player development, coaches, all the support behind that. And again, Mark has been incredible supporting us both on the scouting side and on the player development side. So it really takes a team effort to get those guys once they're here and playing on TV.
Go to Jesse on the right side aisle.
Asked and answered.
All right, so we'll go to Kyle.
Matt, I just kind of wanted to ask you, just how have you seen, you know, Murph grow into the job since he's taken over, and just how has he kind of imparted, you know, his sensibility and personality onto, you know, this group?
I mean, what you see is what you get from Murph, you know, and so it's every day is what he brings. He brings an intensity. He brings a relentless approach. He cares so much about the people in the room and winning that it's infectious. It really is. I think it's been tremendous because it's become part of our fabric, you know, and even when we go through tough parts of our season, like we did at the start, Murph was there continuing to challenge the group, you know, and I think that means a lot. You know, there are a lot of teams I think that could have potentially gone the other direction, and again, a huge credit to Murph for keeping us on the right path.
Back to the left side up top.
Mark, I have a business-related question for you. Wondering if you could just speak to the financial impact of the postseason on the Brewers franchise, specifically, kind of like, what is the fiscal impact on the Brewers for each playoff home game?
I think the financial impact, the deeper you get in the postseason, the better you do. There's a real financial reward for getting to the World Series, just the way the math works with not only ticketing but media. And, from our standpoint, we're 100% focused on winning just for the sake of winning. Something that, everybody's completely dedicated to. I'm really proud that in 21 seasons, we have 9 playoff appearances. We got to get to the World Series, and that's everybody's focus. But for winning, for the banner, for the ring, not for the financial.
Go to the second row on the right side.
Matt, the roster that you guys finished the regular season with was quite a bit different than the one that you guys took to New York. There was a little bit of turnover throughout the year. How much do you think just having the depth and the adaptability to kind of reshuffle the deck chairs a little bit throughout the season, how much do you think that helps a team find its identity and have the success that you guys have ended up having this year?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I think you're right. I mean, when you go through a season, there's obviously going to be a lot of turnover, and what you thought about a certain player at the start of the year can certainly evolve, and we're not always right on those guys, and I love being proven wrong in a lot of cases, and but you have to find out, and so I think the big thing is just building up a number of players that have ingredients that you like, and then hopefully that can come together with the coaching that we have and try to get the most out of those players. But you're right. Yeah, a lot of it's trial and error over the course of a long season, and we have to stay nimble constantly throughout the season with our roster to find out.
Go back to Kyle up on the right side.
Matt, you mentioned you like talking about, scouting and player evaluation. I just kind of wanted to ask you, just kind of when you identify somebody like Andrew Vaughn, who may have, struggled at his previous spot, but has shown glimpses and flashes of, improved play, just kind of what is it about your front office group that's able to identify those types of players and get the most out of them, or see them have their best ball with you guys?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any one thing. I think it's a combination of the work that the guys are putting in, the combination of different perspectives that we have involved, and then it's the environment. You have to put the people in the right environment, and we have incredible support from Mark to create that environment, and then it's on us to try to mix and match the profiles that work best. And I think there's always some silver lining with all these players, especially when they've struggled, and that's an opportunity I look at to try to bring in somebody like Andrew Vaughn, and that's, again, a huge credit to him for what he's been able to do since we got him.
Let's come to Adam in the second row.
Matt, Murph shared with us that Woody will not pitch in the first round, and then you'll see from there. Obviously, there was a lot of thought that went into what the club would announce here. Can you describe some of those conversations and what your level of optimism is that this is possible, or is this door open just a tiny little crack, or is it open pretty wide?
Yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, obviously, when you talk about somebody who means as much to our franchise as Brandon Woodruff, you want to see that all the way through, right? And so it's certainly there's an opportunity for him to potentially come back. We just don't know what that is. It's day to day. It's it's not his shoulder, which is a really good thing. There's nothing structural wrong with his shoulder. It's a lat injury, and so we feel like we treat those oftentimes like a hamstring, and that can be potentially a couple days, maybe even a couple weeks. We just don't know. And so what we do know is that Woody's a tremendous competitor, and he wants to be a big part of this, and he's going to continue to work to be a part of this. And even if he's not doing it on the field, I mean, he's going to do it in the clubhouse for sure.
Doug, down in the front.
Oh, thanks. So I'm curious about sort of like the culture around the organization. Like, when I was playing, I always felt like each team had a style or a preference. So, for example, I always thought the Brewers, everybody was like 5'9", 5'10", had a goatee and could play first base. It was like a style, right? So I wonder, like, how you describe what is like sort of a Brewers player in that context, and then how you avoid being too myopic about it, because that sort of fits into the culture.
By the way, you should plug that into your model, 5'9", 5'10",
Yeah.
OT.
Yeah, we could plug that in. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want to.
No,
Give it a
I
shot.
think, look, we, Matt and the group have a variety of things they look at, and talked about how, ownership can support the group. We try to never say no, and try to give them the best working environment so that they can assess that. I don't know if you look for there are different qualities you look in
for sure
for players, but I don't know that it's only one type.
No, definitely. I think the important part is staying nimble to that. I remember a couple years ago we had the big boy infield. Remember, it was like Moustakis and Shaw and Aguilar and Scope and Kratz. It's like the biggest infield ever. And now we have the opposite of that, right? But I think there's some ingredients with those guys that are probably similar, maybe in terms of makeup, if that's what you're suggesting, and makeup matters. That's important to us and kind of who they are, regardless of the size of the guy. Whether it was a couple years ago or now, we've had success with both. And again, that's I think a big credit to our scouting staff and the people that are out there trying to get information on the players that we acquire.
Take two more. We'll do Andy on the left, and then we'll finish up with Kurt in the middle.
Mark, you mentioned just how much it would mean to the organization to go to the World Series. And I'm just curious from your perspective how you weigh, I guess, the success you guys have had in the regular season during this stretch where you've built yourself into a perennial contender against just the disappointment you've experienced in October.
Yeah, that's a key question. When I bought the club 21 seasons ago, I laid out 4 mandates or things that we looked to build on, and one of was to always be sustainably competitive. That was the first one. So if you're not competitive, you can't get there. We're all very mindful that the club's only been in one World Series in 1982, and so those sort of go hand in hand. When I bought the team, we had 12 losing seasons in a row, so it was hard to say, the goal is to get to a World Series. Well, you lost. In fact, that year, when I first actually was sitting over there was a guy from ESPN in the front who said to me, well, when you have lost another 12 years in a row and haven't been to a playoff game in over 20 years, you won't be so cheery. We sort of turned that around. But that said, of course, that's the goal for the organization, for the community. Nothing would be more special. But there's right now in our league, there's 3 other teams that have done everything to get there, and 4 in the American League. And watching the playoff games, these are all really good teams. I know you want to get to a World Series.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a JV ring. I don't have a varsity ring, so I would like to get a big one.
We'll finish up with Kurt.
Matt, and just in the conversations you guys have had this week and in weeks past about the roster for this series, and with Miz specifically, what light could you shed before the roster is announced on the roles that you guys have talked about, how those conversations have gone, roster him, not roster him, all those things?
Yeah, in terms of the roster, yeah, still, we put in a lot of hours talking about it, and I think in some cases we can justify a lot of different permutations of that roster. And I think with Miz in particular, look, I think what we're looking at is game 1 Freddy, and then beyond that, it's just pretty much all hands on deck, and I think Miz will certainly be part of that. But it obviously he's going to have to go out there and perform just like everybody else, and I think his role is still to be determined. I think a lot of that has to do with, the matchup and the situation and all those things involved. But, that's been a great part of our team is that we just have so many guys that are just willing to say, hey, just give me the ball whenever it takes and I'm going to get the job done, and I think he's certainly going to get that opportunity.
All right, Mark, Matt, thank you for the time.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Brewers pitcher Brandon Woodruff is going to come in momentarily.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Go Brewers.
Go Brewers.
Woody, this is probably the last place you want to be again. And I'm wondering how you're processing that and what conversations have gone into reaching this conclusion about not available for this round, but leaving the door open a crack.
Yeah. No, obviously, bad timing, for kind of how it went down. Just getting to this point and being able to like my main goal was to be, healthy at the end of the year and pitch in the playoffs and do the whole thing. Initially, it was a bummer for sure. Got right on top of it. When got checked out. It's a lat strain. So, just got to let it heal, and it's literally a day by day thing. And as far as the rest of the way, not really counting anything out. I just got to come in and go day to day and see where we're at. But obviously, too soon for the divisional series.
Is this about what you expected when you went on the injured list a couple weeks ago, or has there been any good news, bad news since then, or is this about what you were thinking when it happened?
No, I had no expectations of like what was going to happen. I tried to process, as soon as I got the news on the lat strain, and just tried to process, looking forward. And yes, I got great news on the front of the lat strain. Structurally the shoulder is great, which is I'm happy about that. And obviously that's what I've had to deal with over the last year and a half, and getting through this season. And but yeah, as far as that, I got great news on that front, and shouldn't be an issue going forward.
Go to Kurt in the middle.
Woody, how do you balance the desire to get back in a short amount of time with the other side of the coin of like the long term and what's in it for your future as well?
You just speaking in terms of like for the rest of this playoffs?
Yeah.
Obviously, this round was not feasible. But obviously, anytime the longer you keep going, the longer you get days out of this thing, the better the chance. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. As far as right now, like I'm focused on going in and just taking care of myself, getting my treatment, doing all the necessary things I need to do to try to give myself a chance. But it's like, I love pitching in the playoffs, and fortunately, we've gotten to do it a lot here over the last 8-9 years, and been a part of essentially every series besides the last 23 and the last 3 years now, or 2 years, and that's a bummer for me because I love pitching in these type of games, and obviously with the Cubs coming into town, this is probably one of the biggest, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And so yeah, as far as that part of it, sucks, but you can't tell when these things are going to pop up. So, but yeah, as I'm doing everything I can to kind of ride this thing and see what happens here.
Go to Andy on the left.
Brandon, Murph said you weren't throwing yet. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
So
yes.
Are you just in a rehab state? Like, what are you able to do at this point?
Yeah, right now just in a kind of a rehab phase of it. And like I said, it's kind of day by day. The longer we kind of get out of this thing, the better the chance. I'm kind of keeping everything on the table at this point. And you know what? It's essentially, like I've been told, it's like a hamstring strain. You get 99%, you feel great. It's that last 1% that can really affect you. And so you really just have to make sure it's 100%. When it's 100%, I don't know. I'm trying every day to get to that point as quick as I can. And that's kind of the way I'm approaching it. So, yeah.
Todd?
Woody, what were your thoughts when you saw the Cubs advance to this round? And how weird is it going to be to see counts on the other side? I don't know, you guys have played before, but with this high stakes right now.
Gosh, one, you don't have to fly 4 hours to San Diego to go play a baseball game. You can just drive right up the road. No, it's as far as both organizations is kind of what you hoped, and kind of as far as the fans are concerned, like this is what it's about, like a rivalry in the playoffs, see who's going to advance, and there's nothing like it. I think it's going to be, every Cubs Brewers game is always pretty intense, and the fans get involved, and it's always a playoff like atmosphere. But I'm sure it's going to be even better for sure, especially here in Chicago. But I think that part of it last year, Count's coming back for the first time. That's kind of, we're kind of past that now. It's just back to baseball. So, it's this series is going to be something else for sure.
Go all the way up top on the right.
Brandon, you're so beloved and respected in that clubhouse. What do you think you can provide going forward in this run?
Experience, pitching in the playoffs, and you can't explain it unless you go through it. And I've by no means have I've got a ton of experience, but I've been able to do it and pitching some pretty big playoff games for the Brewers, and it's. But I've had conversations with Quinn. He's I don't know if it's been announced. He's going to start in this series, but just how the playoffs is all about the team and winning the day and how you approach it. You don't have to approach it any differently. It's just prepare. Do everything you've done, but it's real cliche. But I mean, it's literally take everything pitch to pitch and see where you're at the end of the day. So just trying to give him an understanding of like, there's going to be a lot going around the stadium with more cameras. There's more of this, there's more of that, but it doesn't affect what you do on the field. If not more, it helps you focus more. So just trying to help in that way and just kind of be a sounding board in that sense. And just, try to be a great teammate, try to help pick up guys and just be there and, cheering guys on. Because, I mean, there's nothing like playoff games and being there with the guys and, winning games in the playoffs.
Any last ones for Brandon? You can take one more with Adam right down here in the front.
Woody, whatever happens the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What did it mean to you to get these 2 more years with this club, and when you got back on the mound to do that in a Brewers uniform?
For sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I sat here. Gosh, what was it? It was 2 years ago this time. So it meant a ton. I honestly didn't know if I was coming back, and. It was a long road, but I knew it was weird. I knew I had to pitch in this uniform again. And what a process, like what, something that was, there was some tough days for sure. But just getting to the point I got to and just getting healthy again and pitching was honestly the most important thing for me, knowing the longer I got out of this thing, the better I would be, and that's still the truth. I'm still expecting to have everything come back to normal, and there were flashes of that, and that's really all my goal was to do, was just try to be healthy and show some flashes for myself to give me confidence. But it meant the world just to be able to pitch again in this uniform. Drafted here in 2014. Gosh, yeah. I mean, it's been 11 years with this organization, and getting to be a part of, essentially the best era of Brewers baseball, and it's been a blast. So, as far as the future, I don't know what that will entail, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to come back here, and my son was born here last year. I've got so many roots dug here in Milwaukee, so it's and not just the people in the clubhouse, but people outside of the baseball field I've gotten to know, and it's home for sure. It's my second home, and so I was for sure I needed to throw in this uniform again.